Hey guys, this is Tyler Zombro from Tread Athletics, and today I wanted to talk about how to set up an efficient bullpen session. So in order to throw an efficient bullpen, you really need to decide what your individual focus for that bullpen is going to be. We can do that in a variety of ways, but the main thing you want to think about is how can I set parameters in the bullpen to quantify whether or not it is a successful session. I think we've all been there where we don't really have any goals outlined going into a bullpen. We don't know how many pitches we're going to throw in total, how many of each pitch type are we going to throw, is our objective command, is it movement, is it sequencing, what is it? And a lot of times we don't provide those answers before the session, and then we're operating in blank space and nothing is achieved. So there are a few ways that we decide how we're going to navigate a bullpen, and we're going to walk through just a couple of those. So in my opinion, there are really four main categories of how you can approach a bullpen. The first one is going to be velocity based. So for velocity, the main thing we're trying to lay out is how many pitches are we throwing, what pitch types. Obviously, with a little bit of an emphasis of command, we're not just throwing hard to throw hard, making sure we have a catcher so we're on plane, accelerating downhill, making sure that's applicable. With velocity, I think you can either chase after a velocity ceiling, meaning what can you get kind of that highest point to, but oftentimes overlooked, you can utilize a floor as well. So if you're a guy who maybe you average 91, maybe you now say, okay, I'm going to see how many fastballs I throw and I cannot go under 90. Maybe that's your velocity session. But being able to set those parameters so you know what ranges you're working in is really going to give you a much clearer conscious of what you're trying to tackle in that session. Another area of focus could be command. With command, if you have technology available, utilizing Trackman with the 9-box strike zone is really powerful. And then of course with a catcher as well, his kind of grading of ball or strike, did you hit the location? But again, putting a number to that command session is powerful. Another focus of a pen can be spin based. So this is something that I want to emphasize because spin and movement are two different things. So if we're focusing on spin, we can think about Rapsodo technology being really good for that. And with that, that's more of a internalized bullpen of I'm trying to feel this pitch, get this certain spin metric on it. And I think the really cool thing about technology is we can have powerful parameters in place. For a novice pitcher, it could be something as simple as I want to be between 1 and 2 o'clock on my fastball if you're somebody that has a lot of deviation. At the professional level, maybe you're a guy that catches seam shifted wake and you know you need to be at a 130 axis between 75 to 90% efficiency on your fastball. So you can really scale the detail of those parameters that you're putting in place to then ultimately quantify if your session is successful or not. Then the last type of bullpen would be movement based. And this would be if you had a Trackman present, where you're obviously getting the induced movement numbers off of that and you're setting parameters that way. Can I get my sinker to stay below 5 vertical and have 15 plus inches of horizontal run? Can I get my slider to the left of the 0 line? Can I get my curveball below -5? There are so many different ways that you can quantify that and again, validate if your individual session was successful or not. So those are really the four main categories of having an efficient bullpen, different ways you can think about laying out parameters, being velo, command, spin, and movement. And then ultimately you get to a point where combining all of those things results in a performance bullpen, but you can also still scale it pitch by pitch. For instance, if you're a guy that struggles with command of a secondary pitch, now you're not so much worried about the spin or movement or even velocity of the pitch, but you're just trying to feel that secondary offering in the zone. So solely focusing on command. So you can find individual ways to set parameters pitch to pitch. And again, it offers you a way to quantify your performance and validate if you're having a successful session or not. So that's the best way to kind of go about your bullpens. Let me know if you guys start to integrate some of those and look forward to hearing your feedback.